So we're back for another installment of Sumo bots, and we're at the point now where we have the gearbox, the base, and the wheels in place. So I'm going to go on and start the body. So what I'm going to do is simply go back to New, Part. I'm going to call this one Body, and start up my fresh view. And I'm just going to turn on the display so you can see it. So there's my standard displays, and I'm going to work from the top, let's say. Okay, so start top, go extrude, just like every other time, sketch view. I'm going to start with the basic rectangle and hit select, and I'm going to change this to 3 because that's what the chassis width is. And I'm going to say 4.75, and again, you can change this as you go, but this is just my basic tutorial on how to do stuff. And I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to give the height of my Sumo, let's say it's going to be, I don't know, 2 inches. Okay, it can be higher, you can do so many different things, but this is just a basic one as to what to do to get you started. I'm going to click OK. So there's my basic, and I'm going to start this one with, let's say, call it outer shell. Okay, and we'll go from there. Okay, so now the next step is I'm going to simply say, I might as well hollow it out. So there's a hole in it. So I'm going to click on the bottom. This is the bottom view. And if you're not sure, what I would do is just go here to bottom, and it would actually get you the bottom. Okay, and I'm going to go to shell, and what shell does is hollows it out. And I want you to give it a shell thickness of 0.08. You don't need it really thick because it's not like this is needs to be super strong. Okay, so I have my shell thickness there, and I'm going to click on OK. So there's my basic body design. Okay, and what I'm going to do is save it right now. Okay, so save it and close it down. I'm going to go back into here. I'm going to turn off my datum displays, and I'm going to assemble right away. So I'm going to go assemble. I'm going to grab body, and I'm going to say, well, I want that edge there to line up with this edge right there, and that one, well, I want to be coincidence. And then I want lift this up. So now I want this surface here to be. I'm just going to hold the shift key down and drag it here. I want it to line up with this right there, and I want that to be coincidence. And then the last thing is I can go this way still, so I'm going to take this surface here, and I want it to go against this surface, and there it is in place, and I'm going to hit OK. Okay, so there's my basic body, and you could leave it like that if you wanted to, but you know, there's no screw holes yet, and you know, the corners don't match, things like that. So now what we want to do is figure some things out. For example, there's axles I got to go through this. So if I go to the wheels, that's that wheel, I'm going to go to this wheel here, I'm going to right mouse click on it, and I'm going to hide it. And now I can see the axle protruding out. And this is the left side, so I'm going to go up to here and view it from the left. And I'm going to zoom in. And I want to know how far to this axle this is so I can actually cut out this part. So I'm going to come up to Analyze and Measure. It's the only one you really need to know under Analyze. And I'm going to go from this edge right here, and I'm going to hold the Control key down, and I'm going to select the center. Is it going to let me pick that? There we go. Okay, and it's a distance of 1.34 away. Okay, that's kind of a weird number, but let's go with that and say, okay, well, as long as I put the axle maybe 1.2 from this edge to there and do a line and then come up and over it. Okay, so let's take that number. So let's use the number 1.2. Let's see what happens. Okay, so remember 1.2, and I'm going to click on this, right mouse click. I'm going to go to open my box. I'm going to go with the left view. Okay, I'm going to click on the surface, and I'm going to go extrude. And what I'm going to do is zoom in a bit. And what I'm going to do this time around, I'm going to do a line, and I'm going to hold the Control key down, hold the Alt key down, and this is important, hold the Alt key down, and you can select this edge, and what it does, it gives you a reference line, so you have something to work off of, an Alt line here, a reference there. So if I want to reference different dimensions and stuff, and literally all I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my line up, I'm going to draw over, and I'm going to come back down, and click, and hit select. Now, it gives me a bunch of numbers, and I'm going to zoom in, and what I'm going to do is maximize this a bit. And I'm going to take this number, and I want it to be 1.2. That was my number. And I'm going to say that the axle is only about 0.1, so I'm going to put this about 0.2 as well. What it does is kind of gives me a number, okay, to work off of. Actually, 0.2, enter. Okay, and then I'm going to click on select. Now you notice how it didn't fill in, right? And you see these two red lines down here. It just means that I didn't fill in all the way across, like that. Okay, now when I hit there, select, now you can see that's gone the typical color. Okay, and it's there. I'm going to hit OK. Now here's the part. I'm going to switch directions. I'm going to remove material, but it's all the way across as 3 inches. Okay, and I'm going to switch around. Yep, it's through. Now if I was a bit less, right, it wouldn't show up, right? So I'm going to put it to 3. Hit OK, and I'm going to call this right away the axle hole. Okay, oops, there's no, can't have a space. Hole. Okay, and hit save, and you know the whole thing now. I close this off, and automatically it shows up there. And guess what? It kind of worked. How is it? Let's go from the left. Oops, wrong one. Go from the left, and there we go. I'm a little bit out, so 1.2 isn't quite good enough. So I'm going to put maybe 1.15. Okay, so we'll just adjust that. Open, and go back to this. So click on the axle hole, selection, edit definition, and I'm going to put this to 1.15 or 1. Let's try 1.1. Okay, and hit OK. Like I say, you can play with this all you want. I'm just showing you how to do it. Close it, and no, it was 1.15. So let's try that again. Open, and the axle hole, and 1.15. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so next on the list is I actually want to take out and make a kind of a shape to this, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in, select this side, go extrude as usual. Okay, I'm going to go sketch view, and I'm going to grab a line, and you can do this multiple ways. I'm just going to show you one way. Hold the Alt key down so I have some reference lines. So I'm holding the Alt key down as I select this. You notice that I selected the line first before I did this, so Alt key down. Select those, and now I'm going to take this line tool, and I'm going to say, well, I want from that corner, I want to come up, I don't know, maybe like this, and maybe I want to come across here. No, I'll just go straight up to here. So I'm going to come straight up like this. Okay, there's my shape, and now what I want to do is I want to remove this material here, so I'm going to come across and down, and there's my shape that I'm going to remove. And I'm going to click on OK, and I'm going to switch directions, remove material. Uh-oh, there's a hollow. There's a problem, but let's not worry about it right now. Let's go all the way over. Let's go to the very side of it and do this. Now don't worry about this. There is a problem here, but we're going to fix it in just a second. We're going to hit OK, or accept. Okay, now what happens in the model tree is it goes in order. So what happened was we did the outer shell, then we hollowed it out, we put the axle hole in, but then we got this extrude that's removing materials. Now what I can do is I'm going to name this right away and call this let's call this the slope. Okay, now if I simply grab with my left mouse button and I move it up above the shell, it fixes it. Okay, and I'm good. Now if I was to move the axle hole above the shell, oh, that's weird. I don't want that. So I'm going to take the axle hole and put it down. Okay, so that lets me do that. So now I'm going to hit save as usual. Okay, and when I close it off, you know exactly what's going to happen. Now I have my shape, and I'm going to turn my wheel back on, and sorry, unhide. Okay, and I'm going to stop there. There's my basic shape of my Sumo, and I'm going to continue on in the next tutorial.